artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, cloud, big data, IoT, robotics, and digital arena. These also include focus on nanomaterials, 3D printing, industrial IoT, aircraft engines and subparts, chip fabrication, lithium and non-lithium electric vehicle batteries, invasive sensors for health, and so on. They are finding resonance in Government of India initiatives. Some of these have been exacerbated due to the impact of COVID as well. And in this session, we will look to uncover and discover how the focus of these technologies is changing India and SMEs specifically, and what is being done to reskill for people, reskill people for making a defining impact in the financial statement of SMEs specifically. So with that, I'll invite Chandrakant sir to give a small introduction about this session.
On behalf of SME Chamber of India and Federation of Indian SME Associations, as well as SME Technology Development Council, it's my immense pleasure to welcome all of you at this SME Technology e-summit. We are deliberating on the web platform since the pandemic is going on. But nevertheless, we should not stop for sharing knowledge and education, and particularly the information of the product and development. Friends, on behalf of SME Chamber of India, I welcome Shraji, Director from the Tech and Projects from the Ministry of MSME, Government of India. We have speakers from the Tata, we have speakers from the other sector, and we are now focusing more on how this technology will be useful for the MSME sector, particularly for the to produce a quality product as well as provide a quality services. Friends, we are aware that during this pandemic, every person, every entrepreneur, every employee, every government officer and banking officer, they have started using the advanced technology. Advanced technology in a both ways, like Aman said, particularly as the not only just IoT and the AR, VR, but on the industrial point, because manufacturing is a big hurdles, particularly for the providing the supply chain management, and therefore the using the advanced technology in manufacturing sector is the most important currently. Many entrepreneurs are facing problem for the skilled manpower, regular manpower, and timely manpower, and therefore they have adopted the advanced technology to production purpose, as well as keeping a track from the not only just the nearest place, but longest place. Today's focus, more focus will be on the IT, industrial technology, industrial 4.0, and mostly the how the IT and IT solutions, and particularly ICT solutions, will be useful for the MSME sector. We have started communicating with each other only on phone, but now we have started communication through many platforms. Earlier, just web meeting was happening. Now, yesterday I saw one development in the web meetings and particularly digital platform. A huge development happened in the last 9 months. It is surprising, that we want to understand properly what is the benefit to MSME sector and what is the benefit to the employee perspective, because we want to develop more production. We want to focus more on the productivity, and we want to focus more on to achieve the target growth set by our Honorable Prime Minister at the 11% for this year. We are aware that during this pandemic, Honorable Prime Minister announced, Honorable Finance Minister announced, Honorable Minister of MSME, Mr. Gadkari has announced so many packages, so many value addition services, hand holding, as well as support to the MSME sector. In this budget, 2021-22 budget, also 15,700 allocated by the government. And I request Mishra Saab to elaborate some points on the this point where how the MSME sector can take advantage, where these 15,700 plus 10,000 crore invention, and also mostly I found a 300 crore setup for the technology development. So this is a very unique and very interesting, useful information in a SME perspective. So nevertheless, I will not speak much, but because I want to hear from all the stalwart speakers today, going to share their thoughts, especially for the benefit of the MSMEs. I welcome again all the speakers, and Shraji. And Aman, now you can take a charge and you can start your inquiry, and you can take care of the further steps.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your enlightenment. And before inviting Mr. Mishra, I'll give a brief bio about him. So he's a director, technical and projects, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, an officer belonging to the Indian Railway Services of Mechanical Engineering, Government of India. He has worked both as a leader and team player on cross-functional teams in the areas of operations, project management, macro engineering, sustainable asset management, and human resource optimization and welfare. He has successfully led large teams towards achieving and surpassing organization goals in extremely challenging, extremist-infested, economically backward areas of the states of Bihar and Jharkhand. So welcome once again, sir, to give us some enlightenment on the topics that you wish to share today.
Yeah, thank you, Aman. Before starting, let me first start by thanking the SME Chamber of India for having me in this SME Technology Summit, and basically to deliberate and present the interventions that are being done by the Government of India and the Ministry of MSME in terms of technological input and how we are going to make these MSMEs who are really facing a very uphill target to make them more competitive and more commercially viable. And talking of technology, I mean, development is very closely related. Social development, perhaps, and even more tangible and other intangible development are very closely related with technology. The stage of development that we are as a human race we've arrived at would not have been possible without the advancement of the technologies. And the radical change and advancement in the economy, as we observe today, is also a result of the modern technology. While technology has also brought efficiency and quality in the manufacturing sector, technology advancement has also reduced the risk involved in the manufacturing enterprises. Whether it is the various digital initiatives or infusion of AI or machine learning and digitization, how digitization has actually improved into improving the market and the credit access of these enterprises and so on and so forth. But having said that, the COVID pandemic has really posed a massive challenge to our society and more so for the SME sector. We've really seen the demands being shrinking, the margins have also shrunk. And so the challenge is even more prominent and it is really in our face. As Chandrakant ji just mentioned, the government of India is really has taken up this challenge, and through the Atmanirbhar Bharat endeavors, the Ministry of MSME has been really been supported in a great manner by the current budget. Also, we've actually the budget estimate for 2021-22 has actually been more than doubled, clearly underlying the priorities of the government of India, which actually looking at actually increasing or supporting these MSMEs into actually performing and getting out of the non-performing assets that they are actually have been created by the credit crunch and the COVID pandemic. I am here basically to elaborate upon the various technological schemes that have been decided by the Ministry of the MSME and how we are actually going to take forward the mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat in terms of technological interventions into these MSMEs. And as we all know that the MSMEs are basically into two verticals, two separate verticals, equally important. The first one is the manufacturing vertical, and the second one is the services vertical. So our schemes are basically into having interventions, technical interventions, technological interventions into both of these verticals. So I'll just deliberate as I discuss each schemes bit by bit and how we are actually looking at getting to that technical intervention from the ministry side. So the most important scheme, which is actually being rehashed and reformatted by the ministry, are the 6 schemes which are under the MSME technological upgradation scheme. So these were basically the lean manufacturing scheme, the Z zero effect zero defect, which was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister himself in the year 2016. Then we have the digital MSME scheme, then the design MSME, Then two more schemes where we actually support the incubation and ideas generation by the MSMEs. And the last one is the protection of the IPR. So these are the 6 schemes which are actually looking at the whole bouquet is actually looking at improving the technological interventions of the ministry. And after seeing that these schemes in the previous so to say versions, we have actually come to realize that actually MSMEs being at the basic level of the entire structure, they actually need a very simplistic operational guidelines to actually get on to the journey of technological intervention. So the ministry has now decided by, and which it is actually been piloted by our honorable minister Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, as to how to make these schemes simplistic. And we have actually merged 3 schemes together: the IPR, incubation, and the design schemes, because these are actually taking up an idea, doing the design interventions, and then protecting the patents and the trademarks through the IPR schemes, and actually making the entire idea a commercially viable one. So these 3 have been actually merged together, and the final scheme which we are coming up maybe in a month's time, is the MSME Champions Innovative Scheme. So this is one scheme which is going to actually merge all these 3 ones together, and actually going to make this MSME innovative scheme. Then the Z scheme has now been rehashed, and a lot of things have been actually we've discussed with a lot of stakeholders, including SME Chamber of India and all other industrial association of MSME, and we have actually realized the pain points of the MSMEs as to what was the difficulty on onboarding this Z scheme, which was a very aspirational scheme, which was piloted and inaugurated by the Prime Minister himself. So we've actually saw that the outreach is not as it was desired. The procedure was a bit clumsy, and the other parameters were a bit too bulky to actually for the MSME to come on board. So the revised Z scheme is now MSME's Champions Z Sustainable Scheme. So this earlier the scheme was only for the manufacturing MSMEs. Now we've also included the service MSME as part in the phase 2 of the scheme. The service MSMEs, the entire 50% vertical was actually absent earlier. Now we have made it a part of this. The earlier there were about 50 parameters which were to be ticked as a part of acquiring these certifications. But now we have actually lessened it and actually merged a few similar ones and made it to only 20. So the 50 parameters have now been merged and made into 20 parameters. Earlier there were 5 certification levels. Now we have closed it to only 3 certification levels. And the one of the major pain points of the problems which we learned from the industry was the fact that despite the certifications, the people were actually, the enterprises were actually saying that these are another certificate of certificate. So we've actually, and there were no actual incentives attached to it. We have actually in the rehashed scheme, we have included a lot of incentives which are graded in terms of fiscal and credit concessions. And these concessions not only emanate from within the ministry, but also from ministries like Ministry of Railways, in terms of parcel credits, in terms of freight remunerations, in terms. We've also written, our secretary has also written to all the chief secretary of all these states, because there have been quite a few MSME enterprises incentives which are run by the state governments, which were not being given to the central, the ones which have been registered on the central schemes. So we have actually written to them, and we have kind of integrated the APIs of the government incentive, of the state government incentive with the national incentive. So this is another thing which is when you are going to be Z certified, you are actually going to get incentives not only from the schemes from within the ministry, but also with outside of the ministry. Earlier, the entire assessment was about 24 months. Now we have come to only 6 months. And as Salunke ji said, we have actually completely done it on the internet portal, which is a portal which is interoperable, and so there is there is no human intervention as far as the assessment and the accreditation of the MSME is concerned. So a lot of human element and everything is gone, and basically we'll be monitoring it not by manual reporting, but through a dashboard on the portal. So this is what it is at the moment. And now we come to the second very important part of the entire technological upgradation scheme, which is the lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is basically on the making the competitiveness as far as the manufacturing sector is concerned. And the process and the concept is very simple. We have to actually increase the efficiency of the manufacturing, and one way to increase the efficiency is actually having to reduce the input conditions. So the all the input, like efficiency is basically output by input. So if you are actually be able to reduce the input aspects, so the efficiency is only for the same output, the efficiency is going to increase. So this is what the concept is. The earlier concept was about I think, so yeah, so I'm sorry for the interruption. So this is the lean manufacturing is again earlier the entire thing was cluster based. The cluster had to had about 8 to 10 MSMEs to be actually starting the entire process. Now we have reduced it to mini cluster arrangement, where about 4 to 5 plus MSMEs can come together and decide that they want this intervention, and then they can go for it. And again, we have the entire lean manufacturing scheme now been kind of divided into three stages. The basic stage, which is about 40 to 60 days. The intermediate stage, which is about 9 to 11 months. And the advanced stage, which is about 10 to 12 months. So this is the one. This is how we are going ahead with the lean scheme. And the lean, there are other interventions also, like everything is on the portal, everything through the digital interface, and there is another very important thing. The MSMEs are actually required to pay only the beneficiary contribution. Earlier, they had to pay the entire contribution upfront, and the subsidy was then due. Whatever subsidy was due to them was given to them after that. But now they are actually required to give only their portion of the contribution. So if you are a micro, you only need to pay only 20% of the required sum, and the lean process is going to follow for you. Let me also touch upon the MSME innovative scheme, because it is again a very aspirational scheme by combining the three: design, incubation, and the IPR schemes. And while we are merging all these three together, these three schemes are actually also going to retain their own vertical structures. So an MSME, while will have a single point of entry with a common application form, and the schemes are interoperable. So if MSME is required to have the design intervention and then going for IPR, this is going to be done that way. And there has to be this interoperability between the three schemes. And another good aspect of it is, under the design scheme, earlier there were two IAs, the National Institute of Design and the IISc Bangalore. The last year we have actually expanded the entire network, and now we have about 18 IAs, which includes 7 IITs and 10 NITs, which are also onboarded with us for the design scheme. So with the inclusion of these technical pinnacle of the country, we hope to actually onboard the technical competence of these IITs and NITs into the MSME. And also we have also kind of increased the quantum of support. Like earlier we had the student projects and student projects getting about 1.5 lakhs of rupees. It has now been increased to 2.5 lakhs, and some and the design projects now can actually be up to 40 lakhs for the IA. So these are the interventions which are there in the MSME innovative scheme, and and all these schemes are the first in line of the launch is the Z scheme, and the revised Z scheme would be launched sometime in the first week of March. We are almost all everything is ready for the launch. Just we are going ahead. We are waiting for the minor because we actually required to do a lot of uh, public PR exercises also, so that it is launched in a very big way, and everybody is actually looking forward to entering into the schemes. So the Z is going to be launched in the month of March. The revised lean, the competitive scheme is going to be launched sometime in the month of April or maybe late of March, and this will be followed by the MSME innovative. While we talk about all these five schemes, the digital MSME is going to be wrapped around all these three. By that I mean this is going to come as an incentive to the MSMEs who are Z certified or lean certified or under the innovative scheme. So the earlier digital scheme were actually looking at creating technical awareness and little more than and only that much and not more than that. So now we are actually rehashing the digital scheme by actually including the software provisions, by including what do you say, the business report making and the balance sheet preparation. So all these ERP softwares will be also due to the MSMEs to the digital scheme, and other similar benefits are also there going to be there in the digital scheme. So a digital scheme is actually going to be wrapped around all these three and will come as an incentive. So with that increased digitization, we'll actually we are also actually getting someone on board to actually make the business and the accounting reforms for the ministries, for the MSMEs, so that they are actually in a good position to go for the credits in the market from the financial. If you have a ready-made financial statement available with you, it is all the more easy. Like our experts are going to follow this day, are going to deliberate. It is all the more easy if you have got a good uh, 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 a business proposition and balance sheet already in place. It is almost a given that you get the credits from the market and from the financial institutions. So we are also kind of tying up with institutions to have this template ready for the MSME, so that we on board they have the balance sheet and the results and all those accounting everything ready on board, so that the credit is easier to them. So this is the technological upgradation scheme that is there with. I would also like to highlight a few other schemes of the ministries which are actually looking at where we have actually coordinated and partnered with a multilateral foreign bank, multilateral institution, and brought their money, so to say, into the MSME sector. And the first and the most important is the RAM program, the raising and accelerating MSME productivity. This is the RAM program which is being run by the World Bank. We have entered into agreement only last year, and this is a 500 million program which has the TUS, the Technological Upgradation Scheme. So the fund is actually going to flow into the TUS also from the government of India, as well as from this RAM program of the World Bank. And the other schemes which are part of this RAM program is the CGTMSE, which is again looking at the credit guarantee of the MSMEs, and the TREDS program, which is actually looking at the delayed payment. So these are the pain areas of the MSMEs, and we are actually going to have the intervention through the World Bank funds also through the RAM program. There's another, while we're talking about the manufacturing, we should also realize that a large amount of input is going on the energy sector, and with the traditional ways of energy production, the MSMEs are really finding very hard to be competitive both domestically and globally. So there is another program which has been approved only in the month of December by the efforts of this ministry, which is funded by the Chinese bank AIIB Bank, and the quantum is 7,000 crores. It is basically looking at the renewable energy, biomass, as well as the wind energy and the solar energy. It actually entails both energy production, energy storage, as well as energy efficiency to be kicked in as interventions into these MSMEs. And this is then going to have a paradigm shift, and we are going to have a cluster approach in this, in which we are actually going to give a credit guarantee to the MSMEs, and the entire cluster will be taken up by the RESCOs, and these RESCOs are going to provide the energy production. They'll be actually producing the energy, and the EMIs will be then fixed based on the actual what do you say, the actual expenditure of these RESCOs. And after that, if there is some default on the part of the MSMEs, then the credit guarantee also takes in. So this is a very, very aspirational program of energy in the MSME sector, and it's going to bring about a lot of a real paradigm shift as far as energy production and technology is concerned. While talking of technology, another intervention is actually the technology and the tool technology centers and the tool rooms. And while there were about 18 traditional tool rooms which were established from 1969 or 68 to 1999, there was another program of setting up of new technology centers with the World Bank, and these are about 15 of them in advanced stages. We have already inaugurated 3 of them, one at Visakhapatnam, another one at Bhopal, and one at Bhiwadi. So another 12 are on board, and these are going to again provide that technological input and for the manufacturing sector, as well as providing the common facilitation centers for these MSMEs. Apart from giving the the training, skill development and training to the MSMEs. Apart from that, there is this very great intervention on the technology center front by the government of India by approving the 20 technology centers along with 100 of their extension centers working in a hub and spoke model. So this hub and spoke model with 20 technology centers at the center of it, and this will be spoked by about 100 extension centers, and these 20 technology centers are going to act as the mentor technology centers for these extensions. We are actually with the directions of our minister, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, we've actually developed a PPP policy also. So we are now actually going to partner with the private players in the sector, like all these the ones which are actually leaders in the technology sector, as well as tooling and manufacturing, die making, and similar such things. And we are going to have them on board for these technology sectors. This is another very aspirational thing which is going to be, and we have been given a very stiff target of 3 years, where we have to actually and we have advanced quite a bit, where we have actually got a lot of land from the states, and so about 10 or 11 places we have actually got the lands with us. Land passes are there, so we are actually going to develop these technology centers and the extension centers in the next 3 years. This is going to give a huge boom to the local manufacturing and the local enterprises. All the ancillaries which are actually going into supplying the raw materials and the semi-finished ones to the bigger players. So these are the various technological interventions which I think I have just overran a bit of my time, but I would like to really thank SME India, SME Chamber of India for having me. But I'd like to conclude by what our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has said, that innovation and technology are actually the key drivers for the new Bharat. And so we actually need to work together in synergy to realize this dream and aspiration, and work together to make the SMEs competitive domestically, but not only domestically, but also make them a force to reckon with in global and international market. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, SME Chamber of India, for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure to hear you, especially the policies, programs, and details that you shared. We'll have a couple of follow-up questions, but that will be just towards the end once the other speakers have spoken. Thank you. Thanks a lot again.
Aman, Mishra sir, you have some time, or we continue with the question and answer?
I need to go at around 4:15 or so. I mean, I'm okay with. I'm here, very much here. Not a problem.
Okay, maybe we can have a Q&A session with you, sir, if you have to leave early, because it might extend beyond 4:15. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, I have a negotiation with the for the RAM program itself with the World
So
Bank.
we'll have one quick question. When we are talking about the technology requires a huge funding basically. So what are the channels and what are the avenues we are opening for the SME sector? This is the one thing. And second thing, what you mentioned about the IPR protection in your speech. So when SME is having an IPR, banks are very much reluctant to fund them. So these are the two things what we need to channelize with the finance ministry. And while developing all these schemes and everything, so our humble request is to cope up with the banking industry and see how we can help with the SME sector.
So coming back to the first question, where you said what is the source of fund for the technological upgradation schemes that I talked about, and what are the funds for the technology centers and all. So let me deliberate. I mean, the current budgeted fund that was there for the 2020-21 for the technological upgradation scheme was around 200 crores. And since these schemes were all dormant and we were actually rehashing and redeveloping them, we actually envisage a lot of fund being required for whatever schemes that we are actually making, because this is going to have a huge base, because ultimately our aim is to actually give it to as many MSMEs as possible and to have a large base. So the funding is going first, the the current budget, the next 2021 budget has provisioned about 315 crore of rupees for the technological upgradation scheme. So this is a huge up from about more than 150% over the last year. So this is one way where this will be funded. And as I mentioned, the TUS program is also being a part of the RAM program of the World Bank, which is again a 500 million over a 5 coming out of the private players. This was the answer to your first question. The second question for the IPR, you're right. There is a problem of credit as far as the banks are concerned when it comes to the IPR and the patents and the trademarks. But you are right. We are taking it up, and in fact, I remember last time I visited Bombay, we met together. You had raised this question, so we have actually highlighted this to the DFS also. So our JS has written this to our Joint Secretary sir has written the Department of Financial Services, and I think something good will come out of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for answering the questions. So we'll move ahead now, and I'll invite Mr. Yogesh Dubey, who is a solution expert from Tata Tele Business Services, and he'll be talking about smart leave with next generation and enterprise solutions.
Yeah, thank you, Aman. So, can you, So, hi everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. And I would like to thank the SME Chambers for giving this opportunity to just share our thoughts. Okay. So today I will talk about some of the next generation technologies which can help SMB to grow in their business and improve their operational efficiencies and growth. Okay. So before that, just I have a quick look. Okay. So about Tata Group. So probably you might know that Tata Group is around 140 years old group, and our annual turnover is more than $100 billion. And our 70% revenue that is coming from outside of India. So it means we have very good global footprint. We are present in all the 6 continents and all the major sectors like manufacturing, retail, hospitality, IT, software, and media communications. So in communications, there are two group companies, Tata Tele Business Services and Tata Communications. So both are operating in the same market, but we have done some kind of account level segregation. So specifically SMB, Tata Tele Services taking care of that, and some strategic accounts that is managed by Tata Communications. So this is basically our capability, Tata Tele Business Services capability. So you are able to see two data pointers. Left-hand side data indicates our pan-India presence, while the right-hand side data indicates our West region. So in West region, we are serving the Maharashtra, except Mumbai, MP, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, and Goa. So we have around 20,000 kilometer optical fiber network. We are present in all the major cities, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cities. Okay, wherein we can just deliver our services. So we have good number of enterprise team, and we have good number of channel partners who are generally interacting with you for any kind of sales, service, and operations. Yeah. So now I will talk about that operational efficiency and growth, and I think majority of the companies are looking for this operational efficiency and growth. So there are three components we need to think about. Okay, so whether we are increasing our speed or not, improving our quality or not, and can we save some cost for our organizations? So how these three parameters can be achieved? So answer is very simple. Yes, by adopting technologies, we can achieve these three parameters, and we can just look for our operational efficiency and growth. So here I will share some of the examples here in the organizations. They have just adopted the appropriate technologies, and they have grown in their business with time. So yes, world largest taxi companies like Uber, probably you might know, but they are not owning a single vehicle. Okay, like Airbnb, so world largest accommodation provider, but they don't don't have the real estates any. Amazon, so probably it's a e-commerce company, but they are not managing any kind of inventories. Netflix, it's the world largest movie house, but they don't have any studio or town hall or any halls. Okay. And even Facebook, it's a media company, and probably they are not having their own contents. Okay. And Skype, yeah, so it's a large phone company, but they don't have any kind of telecom infrastructure, or I can say it's a tower or other things. Okay. So these are the companies they are just adopted the appropriate technology basis on their own requirement, or their basis on their organizational requirement, and they have grown in their business. Okay, so nowadays, yes, adoption of cloud is increasing, and if I talk about the SMB segment, so yes, SMB segments are also adopting cloud technology, and there are a lot of benefits of cloud technology. First thing is that there is no any infrastructure is required, and there are subject matter experts who are managing this cloud technology. And as an end customer, we can just use our services. So anytime we can upscale, downscale, we can save our cost for the organizations because there is no any capex requirement. There are multiple parameters available wherein we can just explore the cloud technology. Okay, and I can assume that in coming 4 or 5 years, I think majority of the things will move on the cloud, and I can say it's the future of the technology. I can say. Okay, so now as a Tata Tele Business Services, as a technology partner, or I can say it's as a solution partner, how we can help you. So this is our complete product portfolio. Yes, so we are majority into connectivity. But apart from connectivity, we have other product and services which can help you, or which can help SMB to just improve their ROI, save some cost, and increase their operational efficiencies. Okay. So apart from connectivity, we are just trying to move our services on the cloud. Okay, so that the deployment can be smooth. Okay, and also offer pay-as-you-go model. Okay, so we are into collaborations. We are providing cloud servers. We have software as a services. We have IoT based solutions. And if you are doing any kind of marketing activity, so we have good portfolio for marketings. And even nowadays, we have seen that there are a lot of cyber attacks are happening. So keeping in mind, we have started our cyber security solutions. Okay, so also I will touch upon some of the good technologies or good solutions which can help SMB. So Smart Office, this is a very innovative kind of solutions, and Tata Tele Business Services is the first telecom service provider who started offering this kind of solutions. So basically, what is this Smart Office? It's a combination of telecom services along with the hardware. And here we are providing two telecom services, internet lease line for browsing and internet stuffs, and PSTN link for making or receiving telephone calls. And if you are subscribing these two services, so we are just bundling this hardware. And this the beauty of this hardware is that this hardware has multiple features, or I can say it's an office in a box. So you can use this hardware as a firewall, you can use this hardware as a data router, IP PBX feature is there, Wi-Fi access point is there, 8-port LAN switches are there. And also what we are doing, we are trying to bundle some of our other applications. So we already started bundling our cloud CRM, our cloud storage, our audio conferencing services, toll-free number, and are trying to build some other applications so that as a single service provider, we can fulfill all your basic requirements. So by adopting this kind of solutions, yes, at least you can just save a huge cost for your organizations. Okay, and I believe this is a very good solution for so kind of scenario, a small office, home office, or if you are a startup company, or if you have a sales office, marketing office, or you have remote locations like warehouse or any small locations, are right. So wherein you need not to invest on multiple hardware, you need not to coordinate with multiple vendors. So Tata Tele Business Services as a single service provider who can provide the end-to-end solutions. Okay. This is just a quick look about this hardware. So yes, you are able to see the Wi-Fi access point, telephone connectivity, switches, okay, and rest are the configuration part. Also, we have started smart internet. So yes, during this pandemic, yes, most of the organizations are still preferring work from home services. And the challenges for work from home is that how your employees can access your office infrastructure. So keeping in mind, we have started this smart internet solutions wherein we are providing internet lease line at your office, and we are providing 40 gate UTM box with all the UTM features. Okay. And this box is just free of cost. We are also providing the client VPN licenses, which can be installed on all the laptops or computer system for the employees who are working from home. And once this infrastructure is in place, so all your employees can just access all your office infrastructure, okay, or in any internet applications like your ERP, CRM, or whatever, FTP, email, whatever. Okay. Also, we have started, yes, I mentioned that slowly we are moving our services on cloud. So we started cloud telephony. This is the complete telephony solution over the cloud. So there is no any infrastructure requirement at your premises. And also this cloud telephony is very effective in case of work from home scenario. So you can just receive any incoming call wherever you are, and you can make a dial-out call. Okay, so there are different kind of platform available, like for contact center, for in case of you are a customer care center, you have a customer care center, or you have a help desk center or service center. Okay, so this is very effective, and also we are providing click to call features. So you can just click on the numbers, and the call will be placed by this platform. So there are a lot of features available which generally is expected by any of the organizations. So we have taken care. API integration is there. You can integrate with your CRM and other applications. Okay. Also, we are supporting this SmartFlow is IVR. So yes, probably you might know what is IVR. So you can configure single level IVR or multi-level IVR, and you can just route your call to the desired destination. So it's a system guided process. Okay, so you can just automate your process. Okay, also we are providing missed call services with this platform. So I think missed call is now very popular nowadays. You can get a multiple use cases. Okay, and this missed call services can be used for brand survey or lead generation or customer feedback. Even you can send a voice messages, recorded voice message to a large number of audience. So you can send any kind of your promotional SMS or any kind of your transactional SMS, okay, by using this broadcasting platform. Okay, and the typical use case of this call broadcasting is that you can just send any message related with your customer feedback or payment reminders, or even as an insurance company, they are using for customer feedback. Hospitals are using for doctor appointments. Okay, political parties are using for their campaigns. Okay, and even the government organizations are also using this platform. So probably you might know that government of Maharashtra is using this platform to send a recorded voice message related with COVID. Okay, so this is the secure connect solution. Okay, we have done tie-up with all the major cloud service provider, and if you are using any services from this cloud service provider like Microsoft Azure, AWS, or Oracle, Google, IBM, and you are looking at private connectivity, so we can provide this private connectivity so that you can have a secure and smooth access of your applications. Okay. In IoT portfolio, so basically we are providing tracking solutions. So for different use cases, we have different solutions. Like if you want to track your cab, bus, truck, so that is part of fleet management. If you are into education segment, so we can provide school bus tracking. If you have workforce who are traveling here and there, so and wanted to track them, so that is part of workforce tracking. And if you are into manufacturing or logistic business and you want to track some assets so which are transporting from one location to other location, so that is part of asset management. In collaboration, so yes, probably each and every organizations are using collaboration tool nowadays because this lockdown has forced us to use the technology. Okay, so the collaboration is nothing but it's a joint venture of audio, video, and web conferencing. So Tata Television Services has also started collaboration tool in the name of Global Meet, wherein you can conduct any kind of virtual meeting or webinars or virtual classrooms, and you can just share any kind of presentations. There is a chat window, record meeting. Also, we are providing unlimited conferencing with this platform, so you need not to pay basis on the users or port charges. And along with the internet-based calling, also we are providing the PSTN call. So you can just dial your local PSTN number and you can connect in your conference call. Webcasting, so this is a very good solution. Okay, and let's say if you are trying to address a larger number of people, like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, or 10,000 people in one go, so probably webcasting is the solution. And the typical use case of this webcasting is that your MD can conduct employee town hall and they can address 1,000, 2,000 or employee in a one go. If you are into education segment, you can run your virtual classroom or virtual training program. Your MD or your board of director can share business update to all the shareholders. If you are a product and service based company, so you can just launch your new product and services. Okay, and software as a services, so we have different kind of flavors. So like live chat, so you can just integrate with your website and your customers who are visiting your website, so they can find this live chat and they can interact with you. Document management system, this is a cloud storage wherein you can just save your confidential files and documents. Help desk platform, so you can create your virtual platform so that your customer can just log their complaint and your employees who are working from home, so they can support them. Survey platform, so it's if you want to conduct any kind of survey, so this is a platform. And a fee collector to collect any kind of payment. And also we started offering the cloud CRM. So CRM is nothing but it's a customer relationship management tool, and you can manage all your customer data with this platform, and it's very effective for work from home scenario. In cybersecurity, so we have started a very good solution. So there are multiple variants. Okay, so we are providing endpoint security to protect all your endpoints like mobile phone, your tablets, your computer, laptops, and it's multiple features available like antivirus, anti-spam, anti-malware, anti-ransomware, and also you can have some kind of firewall or UTM feature like content blocking or website blocking. Also, you can manage your media drives like CD drive or USB ports. So everything can be managed through this endpoint security. Okay, and it's a cloud-based solution, so there is no any physical hardware required. Email security, so this is specifically designed for email, and this all your emails, whether it's inbound or outbound, so that can be protected from any kind of spam, virus, or any kind of phishing emails. Web security, so this is a very intelligent platform. So if you are making any transaction over the internet, so that can be protected through this platform. Virtual firewall, so we are providing the software-based firewall, which can be installed on your virtual server or cloud server, and we can configure all the firewall policies. multi-factor authentication. So this is a zero trust solution, and you can authenticate all your employees who are working from home, or all your users who are trying to access all your servers or applications. Okay, so this is kind of a OTP kind of solution. So wherein we can say send SMS based OTP or voice based OTP or biometric. So this is the complete bouquet of cybersecurity solutions, and I think this is my last slide, and I have done from my side what I choose to share with you. So thank you very much. Over to you, Aman.
Thank you, Yogesh ji. We have a couple of questions which we'll take up after the other speakers are done.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Thanks.
So moving ahead, I'll now invite Mr. Suresh Baraj, the Senior Vice President from Kotak Mahindra Bank, and he'll be discussing with us today about the digital journey, the safest and fastest mode for banking requirement. Welcome again, sir. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Aman, and I would like to thank SME Chamber of India for arranging this platform in this situation when last time I remember this happened physically in the presence of everyone, and the advantage was to have a discussion after the session also with a cup of tea with lots of people that we
Okay.
are missing definitely. So hopefully next time we will have a physical presence and meeting all the
Sure,
members
sir. Sure, sir.
of this chamber.
Yes.
So, as digital banking part is concerned, so I can say there is also a part of adaptability. Earlier also in 2018, I can say we have come up with so many platform process where the people can apply online and the application can be processed online itself. So I'm just breaking into two parts my discussion, one towards the process and the one towards the product, which bank is offering to the SME segment specifically, which can be helpful for their growing their business. So one part is the process. I'm saying the process were already there in the place, but the adaptability was not there. But during the pandemic situation, when the people are afraid to go outside, so they actually adopted. And that's the reason in the last 6-7 months, the bankers are in the field also, in the branch also, but they are accepting the application online and processing that one. And we have given approvals. Disbursal will also happen. So I just brief you what are the application which we have. The only requirement is the SME entrepreneur should have their ID, password for their income tax side. By that, we have a platform of e-financial. So by only visiting our website, they can submit their application and they have to enter their ID password of income tax. And by that, we can get the financial of their all the 3 years or 4 years financial with all the details. So they don't need to submit the physical documents at all. Second is the GST ID password. If they are having, they can log in on the GST link, which we will send to them. And by that, we can get their monthly sales figure also. And the third requirement is the bank. So by giving the PDF banking, that part is also getting solved. So these are the basic 3 requirements apart from the KYC document, which is required by the bank for looking at their eligibility, loan eligibility part. And thereafter, we will give the sanction, and then we have a dispersal journey, which we have a tie-up with a company, fintech company, in the last 3-4 months back in the month of November. And now we are getting the documentation also done digitally. Even the people can purchase the stamp paper online. And that is also initiative of, I can say, government of Maharashtra, where the NOI process is becoming online. So people don't need to go to sub-register office or getting the mortgage creation, that part. That is not required. That can be done online. So that's a digital journey, I can say, where from starting from application till dispersal, everything can be done digitally. But yes, human touch is definitely required, because this is the financial only. The bank cannot make the give the products or define the products, or I can say rather, it is not the product, it is a concept in working capital, where in the same industry, the behavior or the working style of every entrepreneur is different. That's what banker is looking at. Their payment cycle can be different. The the way of manufacturing is different. Their credit working cycle, things are different for every industry. Even the same industry, every entrepreneur is working in a different manner. So meeting is very much required, which we done in the WebEx Zoom platform in the last couple of months. By that we have given the solutions because the best part is SMEs wants a cheaper fund. They are looking for the fund which is cost effective to them. So that way we are giving a different you can say suggestions in terms of if they are going for term loan. We suggest them to take a foreign currency term loan. If they have export receipts are there, regular export receipts are there, we prefer to give them foreign currency term loan, which is almost 50% cost than the normal INR. Apart from that, if that is a jeweler, we prefer to give them a metal directly instead of a fund. That is again at a LIBOR rate, so costing is again a cheaper one. Same way, we have a WCDL product, working capital demand loan, which is generally given for some shorter period. And like in this pandemic situation, we got so many entrepreneurs who come up with some specific requirement. They got the order from the government for like putting some oxygen generator sets, some PPT kits. Manufacturing companies are there, so they come up with some specific requirement. These are the project, and we need a fund for specific shorter period. So basis their requirement, we have given them a, you can say, subsidized or concessional funds, which are at a cheaper funds are basically for a shorter term. Apart from that, I can say Mishra sir has very well said the government has taken so much initiatives, and in my career, I never seen this kind of funding which done in the last couple of months, like the guaranteed emergency credit line, where apart from looking at like the person should not be a defaulter, he should be a disciplinary person in terms of repayment of loan, because government or everyone is looking for a good loans, good credit, the person who has a good credential. The person is having the good repayment track record basis. Only the 29th February outstanding 20% of loan was given as a very concessional rate, and that was an excellent initiative taken by Government of India, and the SMEs has taken a lots of benefit in that during that pandemic situation where the business was shut down, and they are getting a booster in that manner. So that is one process part, and I can just share my slide of the products which we are offering, a smaller one. On the digitalization, improve access to finance, as I already told about the during this of the whole journey, the lawyers as a lawyer when we started the investment banking, mutual funds, securities, and the major was in 2015 when the ING Vyasa Bank merger was happened, and our approach or reachability increased across pan India. That was a major shift, and that was, you can say, collaboration of two thought process. One was traditional, one was you can say digital, which we are saying. So as per this is my personal you can say my personal suggestion, or you can say my personal assumption, the hybrid is the best one, where it should be a touch point also of the banker, and the online digital process are also there. So thereafter, this is the geographical presence. We have more than 1,500 branches pan India and more than 2,400 ATMs across India. Digital mediums driving MSME growth. So if we are talking about this way, so say there are more than 108 crore mobile users, 50 crore internet users are there, more than 100 crore Aadhaar card holders are there. So that given the advantage, or you can say opportunity for everyone to come on a digital platform. As I said, digital documentation are happening in the bank. So in that, if all the borrower, co-borrower, and the guarantors are having Aadhaar linked mobile number, so by that, just clicking on the link and putting their Aadhaar number or OTP, mobile number OTP, the documents are getting executed. And the beauty of that is they get the copy of the document instantly, instead of waiting for 5 or 7 days courier period or something. Innovation and digitalization. So technology innovations is their use of API enabled services, which we started in 2018. Then product innovations are there, and then business model is also done. Early cycle discounting, where the normally people are giving credit period, but obviously prices are high. So we prefer if they get those bill discount. So that is a benefit, and that can you can say compensate the price which they are paying. Our value chain, we have so many products which is required by any entrepreneur. Under consumer banking, if I take is mainly catering the SME segment. So auto loan, home loans, loan against property, personal loan, consumer durable finance, credit card, unsecured business loan, private banking, loan against shares, construction equipment. So all sort of, you can say, finances are available as per the requirement and need of the borrower. This is the how I can show in the single slide the total discussion part. Funding solution, I can say we are giving a cash credit limit, which is a traditional one to any sort of manufacturer and a trader. But in this one also, like the normally people has to submit the statement on a monthly basis, that we are taking online. They don't need to give a printout or sign the document, just sharing the data of stock data creditors that we are taking online and making the drawing power set on every month. The second is the overdraft facility, where they don't need a monthly stock statement or the stock audit is not required. This is a plain overdraft limit which is given over there. However, the facilities which is cash credit, because under CGTMAC scheme, only the cash credit facility is allowed, not the OD product. OD product is not allowed in that. So that some differentiation I can say, but it is not make any challenge to the customer who are maintaining the books of account properly. They can easily get. Then the capex term loan. This is also one of the things which we've seen after this pandemic situation, when the people have started working again, and I can say it is a bounce back in the economy actually, because we are getting so many inquiries from the MSME segment for capex expansion purpose. They are coming for so much of like finance they required for expansion in terms of technology, for additional of, you can say, automation process, because they realize that suddenly the manpower shortage was there. So the people are coming for this requirement. So that is the reason which I discussed. In case the people are doing the export, it is better to take a foreign currency term loan where they can have a cost saving of approx 50%. From the normal INR lending rate, the rate of interest here is almost 50%, plus natural hedging is also happening here. Because day one, if I am giving you money in INR, but booking your loan in foreign currency, so tomorrow by getting the foreign export remittance, that loan is getting set off. But the price is already freeze today, because today only I have converted the foreign currency and given the lending in INR. So that is a natural hedging which entrepreneur can look at, and they can take this loan for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years as per their requirement or their repayment capacity. That is one. Buyer's credit is another product where the people are taking for like buying the goods from. These are normally for importers. If they are importing the goods, so they can take a buyer credit, foreign currency money is given, which can be paid to the supplier, and they can get a cheaper fund over here. Gold metal loan is a product which we give to the retail jewelers, which the jewelers ultimately they have to buy the gold. So taking the INR loan, then going for a metal, then paying the interest on the INR, it is better advisable always to take a metal loan directly metal from the bank. That is again because on the LIBOR link rates are there, so the cost is very less, almost 40-50% less cost is there. Then foreign currency dump. I'm sorry, there is some.
Sorry, can everybody be on mute except Bajaj sir?
Once.
Hello, can everybody be on mute except Bajaj sir? Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, there was some announcement was happening. It is a regular feature. So this one is WCDL, working capital demand loan, which I said given for a specific requirement also for a short, and that is having a very less cost as compared to the normal funding which we are getting, because the banks are flush with the funds. with a lesser rate of interest, which we are looking at in the FD also. In the repo rate is also only 4%, which is linked to the normal lending, whatever you are taking in INR. So working capital demand loan is given for a shorter period of say 60 days, 90 days, and come with a very concessional pricing. Foreign currency demand loan in the same fashion, that is again a cheaper fund. Business loan, we know that is the unsecured loan which we are giving for a short-term requirement of say 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years, that way. That is a funding solution which we have. And I can say a solution, why we have word as solution instead of product, because it is a concept. All the industries are different, all entrepreneurs have a different style of working. So I request, if anyone is looking for any, if you have any problem, you are going to the doctor, you don't say, give me this medicine. You simply describe your problems and everything, then doctor prescribe which is more suitable to you. So I believe if you are transferred with your doctor, with your lawyer, with your chartered accountant, and with your banker, that is the fourth category, I'm saying, if you are very transferred with the banker, so banker can analyze your business, study your, analyze your purchasing style, working capital cycle, and give you the best possible solution which can be cost effective to you. That is how we are working. It is not we are just selling the products, we are selling the concept. And it is a more of a human touch behavior which we are carrying with us. Digital solution, we have e-financial, which I said, this is the online application journey. By going to our site, you can submit the document, provided you have an income tax PAN, your ID and password. Then digital banking analysis, that is again done online by just taking a PDF banking from the customer. Instant GST download is also happening. We are just sharing the links. So by all these methods, the sanctioning becomes faster. Because end of the day, we don't have to do the manual analysis, that is automatically done by the system. But obviously, human brain implied, and the meeting happened with the customer on the Zoom, WebEx, or physical meeting as per the convenience of customer, and the sanctioning happened very fastly. Then banking solution, we have so many platforms, CMS, cash management system, NetIT platform, Smart Collect, or booking platform, FX Live. That platform we are giving to the customer. They are able to book the FX rates themselves. They don't need to give a call to the bank and ask for the rate. That platform is also available. Then corporate linked banking. This is where the people are supplying to some big corporates, Tata, I can say Reliance or something. So in that scenario, we are simply discounting the bills, and without having any security. Supply chain funding, that is the inventory funding, which the people are aware. Then risk coverage solution, promoter insurance, that is a Kotak Life, Kotak General Insurance or life insurance. We have certain products where we are securing the promoters. And to be very frank, during this pandemic situation, we have seen cases where suddenly there was a demise of proprietor who is also a property owner due to COVID or something. And in those scenarios, by taking an insurance, which is carrying a very small premium, the family was very happy in terms of like they don't face any sort of problem, and the loan was repaid, even they got some money also. So I always advise the people should take this sort of loan cover. Loan cover shield is very much important, carrying very small cost, but definitely help the family members in case of any this sort of eventualities. So then we have property, motor, employee coverage. All these things are there, and I just sum it up. That's it. Aman.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Very informative. I have some questions. I'll get back to you. Morika ji, we'll have to take you towards the end because Mishra sir has to go. So we'll do a Q&A with him as well as with Mr. Bajaj, and then I'll get back to you.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay. So, sir, we had a couple of questions. One, you had mentioned about the tie-up with IITs and NITs. And I wanted to understand how is the government working with them, especially towards skilling or reskilling, specifically say for SME personnel in future technologies. So what's the roadmap there?
Collaboration with the IITs and NITs is under the design scheme of the technological upgradation scheme bouquet. And the design scheme actually entails two intervention. One on the part of the student projects, where the quantum is about 1.5 lakhs just for the students, and these projects must necessarily be from an MSME through a student, and the student is and if this is then approved by the ministry, the fund flows to the student. So this is one. And the second way is from 15 lakhs to 40 lakhs of design project, which is then actually taken by the IA or the NIT or the IITs with the MSME. So if it is a design project by the NIT or the IIT, we are actually giving them 15 lakhs to 40 lakhs, depending on the actual cost of the design intervention. This is how we are onboarding them, and this is basically to develop a product in terms of giving the design inputs to it. So it is basically that intervention, and it has to be necessarily for a MSME. So that is how, if an MSME really wants to develop a product which is going to be commercially viable for them, for that they can approach the IITs and the NITs, which are the implementation agency for the design scheme for us. And then these fund flow will be there, and this is how we are going to support them.
Okay, so one follow-up question on this. So, is there anything in mind with regard to specific technologies that this tie-up is looking at, say in terms of be it artificial intelligence or nanotechnologies or invasive sensors, or maybe around
So
other things?
those are actually this is, again, we are actually open as far as the type of technology which is coming to us, and we are actually, then there is another scheme which goes by the name of incubators. So these ideas can also come through the incubators, where we have a whole lot of host institutions which have been approved by the ministry, and these MSME can come through these host institutions, give their ideas, and there are quite many of these ideas which are actually based on AIs and the machine learning and all these things. So both these schemes, in the design, it is only through these 20 IAs for the design intervention. For the support of an idea, to actually give them 15 lakhs per idea, and if the host institution actually demands some money for developing that idea and creating an infrastructure, we can actually give 1 crore of rupees to that host institution. So these ideas can come through the incubation scheme also. So these are the two ways in which these ideas can be developed, and the ideas can be, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. That's all we had for you. Thanks for taking time out today for us.
Thank you, and thank you everyone, and thank you for the great experts. I mean, I have heard Suresh ji and also Mr. Dubey. They are all very, I mean, thorough about their on their knowledge. And actually, for the credit side, I would request Mr. Bajaj that we have to be very, very what you say, forthcoming in our help to these SMEs, because currently they are actually, as I said, they are facing a lot of cuts in the margins, and also because of the shrinking demand, they might not have a very robust balance sheet to show for, but for development or maybe generation of a working capital, maybe credit access has to be there. So I'd request you're doing a great job. I think you should continue the same. And thank you very much, SME Chamber of India, and I look forward to being with you all again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vinodji. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. So, Bajaj sir, coming to you, I had a couple of questions. So I saw on your slide you had in the technological section, you talked about Open API. And what I have seen in the industry, in the banking industry, banks like Yes Bank have become pioneers in terms of Open API banking. So how is Kotak taking this ahead? I mean, what is on the roadmap in terms of Open API banking for Kotak?
I can simply say I don't compare Kotak with any bank, because we have our own journey, our own thought process. And as I said, we are on the digital platform, and traditional, it is a hybrid where
Right.
we are working on both the segment. Although API, I can say that was started in 2018 itself by Kotak Mahindra Bank in November. And we have opened that platform for the fintech developers, where they can get them registered with Kotak, and thereafter they can have a tie-up with the entrepreneur, and they can make the software to have a, you can say, connectivity between their software with the bank one,
Mhm.
and that way they can make a faster payments. And I think if all the entrepreneurs are adopting that method, so the working capital cycle will be reduced. People
Right.
will start getting the faster payment. One person is just putting the entries in the system, and payment is are automatically start going on to the other person account
Mhm.
without raising any check or something. So that is one. So under this, our initiatives are going on, and good money is spent on different softwares as well as the human part.
Okay. So another question which I had was, I worked very briefly, not very briefly, close to 4 years in Germany, and I came across a mobile-only bank like N26, which is now have been launched in US as well. So how do you see a market like India reacting to something like only a mobile bank with no branches? How do you foresee something like that happening in the country?
I can say in India, as I initially said, adoptability. We have Arogya Setu app, which Pradhan Mantri has said to upload in the
Right.
system on their mobile.
Right.
And I think till date their registration is not more than 16, 17 CR,
Mm-hmm.
so which is hardly 13%. So that
Right.
way, I can say, yeah, there is a people who are using the smartphones, and they prefer only the. Uh, I don't feel personally the people prefer only, you can say, technology-driven banking.
Mm-hmm.
They always need a face to interact with. Like Mishra said, is rightly said, during this pandemic situation, the turnover was down for most of the entrepreneurs because there was a lockdown, no business was happening. So if we go by the rule book and say in the last 6 months there was no turnover, so no funds are requirement, that should not be the basis. And
Right.
we are looking for the future part. What is the projection? What they are doing exactly? Whether they
Mm-hmm.
are right now at the 80%, 70%, or 60% of the pre-pandemic situation or not. They have
Mm-hmm.
achieved that much turnover. That means they are very much positive. They are
Right.
working towards forward. So that is how we are looking at the finance part. So
Okay.
only mobile, only technology. But this is my personal opinion. I always feel it should be a hybrid where
Mm-hmm.
technology should be there, human touch should be there, and it should be a collaboration of that, which we are carrying.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your insights. So now, moving forward, coming to Mr. Sachin Mohrikar, who is the director of Vinacle Consulting, and he would be sharing his thoughts about advanced applications and technology for transforming SMEs. Welcome again, Mr. Mohrikar. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Aman. Thank you, SME Chamber of India. And I'm sharing my screen. So thanks. When I talk to some of my SMB customers and also friends, uh, invariably there is a lot of confusion, which about technology, especially because they get visits, they get emails from lot of companies telling there are a lot of things available. You can do this, you can do that, and the terms and terminologies are little difficult for them to understand and also envisage how it can be used. So that's what I have tried to put in 4 areas. So we Vinacle, this is our classification, and we are a new startup into IT consulting area. So we are not selling applications or we are not selling services, but we are only providing consulting advisory services to our customers, and our focus is India's SMB sector organizations. So when if I have to explain a SMB owner, which typically comes from a business family or which comes as an individual or 2 or 3 friends who are partners, the overall gamut of this advanced technologies tools can be classified in 4 areas. One, those applications, those tools, those technology which improve your operating efficiency. It was already explained by, I think, Mr. Mishra or someone about the operating efficiency tools. So these are typically the applications like ERP, the enterprise resource planning, the CRM, the SRM, supplier relationship management, the human capital management, which will add efficiency to your day-to-day working. lot of SMB owners complain about reports not having available. They don't know what is their position of receivables, what is their position of payables, and these are precisely the applications which will help you to do that. Business intelligence application, which is always in a small scale part also of your ERP application or also of your CRM application, they will help you in identifying the trends, in analyzing your past data, the analyzing your customers behavior, your suppliers rates, and give you help in analyzing and deciding what you should do next. So these applications set typically called as enterprise applications are the one which will add to your day to day, which will ease your day to day working, will make your staff more efficient, will provide you as a business owner transparency into your operations, and you don't have to worry about what's happening in my company when I am not in my office. Second set of applications which are very important for SMB sector, especially now in new scenario and with a big drive from our government to make SMBs empowered and make them export oriented and give more global platform to SMBs, is compliance. And US, European markets, they respect compliance a lot, and that's where there are applications which are specialized in compliance related documentation, and those are the ones which SMBs, especially those who are working or who are export oriented in pharma or export oriented in chemical sector or export oriented in hazardous good kind of goods, they should consider using. Third is I put as robotic process automation. Now these are suite of applications. We call it as reformed applications because they are existing over last 30 years. But with the new discoveries, the advancement of information technologies, based technologies, these applications have changed a lot. The robotic process automation can actually automate your entire process end to end without having any human intervention. Now, when I talk about process, now this process is specifically, for example, you have to generate invoices for your customers at end of the month. Now you will invariably file one or two of your staff busy doing this activity for the whole day for 2 to 3 days at end of the month. So robotic process automation tool can help you generate those invoices overnight. Maybe when no one is there in your office, keep it ready for your checks. When your staff arrives in the morning, your staff checks it and then those are sent to your customers. So these are the application set which will help you in improving your operating efficiencies. Now second suite of application which are towards your core manufacturing or production. Now the world is moving towards industry 4.0, which is nothing but what is typically called as IoT plus or which is part of your cyber physical systems. Now these are the tools or technologies which relate not only to software applications but also to a big extent to your hardware or to machines, and that's where these technologies are more captive, more demand, they demand more of captive investment. 3D printers, this is one area which is coming up also in India, but it is widely used abroad for making prototypes. A lot of Chinese companies specialize in 3D printings. So these kind of tools, technologies are the ones which SMBs can start or should start looking at, because these are going to reduce your cost of prototyping, give you a very fast product which you can showcase to your customer. Industrial robots, scanners, sensors, and the underlying networking technologies together you can use to make a small size smart factory. Why not? A small smart factory is also possible. Some foreign universities have also made demos of small size factories for their SMBs, and required tools and technologies are available in India. Some of them are expensive, some of them are also available as not so much expensive. So these are the technologies which directly impact the quality of your product and the volume of your product. And that's why this will help you to understand how to separate out technologies and how to select what you want to do. Third, which most of us know and now are more, all of us are more exposed thanks to COVID. We call them Generation Z applications. I think Mr. Bajaj mentioned that there are people who want to do a lot of things digital, and there are also people who want to do a lot of things digital and also human face. Now, Generation Z is a group, or is that young people who are born somewhere in after 95, between 95 to 2001, and who would prefer more to interact with digital screens than to interact with people. And that's where we have tools which have come up, which are mainly the social media which we have been using, like LinkedIn, Facebook. And that's where SMBs can use a lot of good digital marketing tools which can help to create their brand, to make their brand known to the customers across different geographies. They can use e-commerce. Now, e-commerce is typically considered as website, but website is not e-commerce. Website is your digital first face to the customer. E-commerce can be integrated with website, and e-commerce can be an individual or your own shop as well. So there are different levels of offerings available in e-commerce as well, which are small, which are SMB, which is 10 crore SMB, and a medium sized business which is 100 crore. They can decide based on their business model what kind of e-commerce they want to use. So these are Generation Z, the new technologies which the world will see you in digital form, and that's why we call them as digital face tech applications. Because when someone who has not seen your office, who has not seen your company, wants to evaluate you to see if he should interact with you with his first query, they will first see your website, or they will first see your shop, or they will see your advertisement on one of the social media platform, and there they will decide. So they are your first face or your digital face. And then comes the fourth group of applications and tools and technologies. Now these are typically the ones which are very highly talked about nowadays. However, these are also evolving, because these are very we all talk about AI, deep learning, and machine learning. So these are the ones which are really coming up on the horizon. Computer vision, neural language, natural language processing, demand forecasting. There are a lot of applications which are available, which give you lot of details in terms of when provided they get good data. However, they require a lot of analytical prowess, and they also are highly technical, and to some extent are also evolving for business use. For example, imagine if you have a small bakery or a retail shop. You put two cameras outside your shop, and people walking outside your shop, when some of your customer goes across your shop, your camera captures his picture and sends him a SMS that, hello, so we have so and so available, would you like to visit us? So these kind of new business ideas are coming up with these technologies. uh, you might have heard about invoice discounting, which is again coming up, but has, I think, not picked up much in India. But that is one thing which is using, for example, blockchain technology. So there are applications which are getting developed, which are coming up on these new tools, new technologies of which are on the horizon. What we call it as, they are not yet available for mass use in general. Yes, to some extent, but not very common. Some of them are expensive, but these are the ones which will help our SMBs to go into a highly digitalized platform. These will transform them to the next level of digitalization. So I think this classification should help our SMB owners or SMB friends to now separate the confusion of technology, clearly into four types. One, which help them in improving their operation. Second, which help them in improving their productions. Third, which help them in their digital marketing, in digital sales, in digital branding. And the fourth, which are more analytical, which are more towards artificial intelligence, which can help them across different groups depending on what kind of technology you select. Now, with so many things available and so much of confusion, I'm sure if some company has to do everything, it requires a lot of capital investment. Or even if you go with cloud and software as a services, still it would be a big amount of monthly operating expense. How a SMB can move into the digitalization space slowly but steadily, and that's what we at Vinacle, we have what we call as calibrated adoption of digital transformation. uh, what does it mean is, first you evaluate what are your business priorities, the area which you would like to improve. Do you want to improve the way your staff is working? Do you want to have more customers because your production is currently idle? So depending on that, you first decide what you want, what is priority, and based on the priority, you identify what technologies, applications are available in the market. Now for SMBs, it's really difficult to have people on board who can help them daily on this technology topics, on these application topics, and that's where some company like Vinacle can help you, because we are we are your extended or your flex IT, where we can support you in identifying these topics based on your demand. And once you are clear, your consultant recommends you do this, then you go ahead with that adoption of the technology. It's very important for small and medium business that your critical staff or your staff is involved, they are trained well, because we have seen a lot of cases where good applications, people invest money, people buy licenses, sometimes they buy on premises, do heavy investment, and those are not used by their staff, saying that we don't know how to use it, or some reason giving that it's not useful for us. So that's where handholding is required. Handholding can help, and the best thing for SMB in today's world is, first you will prepare your business plan for next 3 years, or to get a financing from a bank. Prepare your technology roadmap for the next 3 years now, because it's going to be a digitalized world. There are big opportunities in India, outside India, for Indian SMBs, and only with digital transformation you can jump across from SMB to a big business. So technologies are available, accessible, however their implementation and adoption are key for success. And that's where we at Vinacle, we would be happy to help you. Be free to contact us, and if you have any questions now, please go ahead.
Thank you, Morika ji. Very informative. I like the first slide. I had a couple of questions. One, you brought out that landscape of different technologies, reformed and other things which are there. So, in as per your research and whatever you have seen in the SMB sector, what are those technologies which are in demand currently in this SME sector?
Okay. Uh, in demand, I take it as for which people, for which SMB business owner ask us what should be
Yes,
what. Yeah.
exactly.
So those are typically, they are asking us about ERP. They are asking us about CRM.
Hmm.
So these two, I would say, are the ones where they are asking a lot of they are asking, and they are also being approached by a lot of companies that they should go ahead with these two technologies. So these are the top two which are currently being asked by. or
Okay.
I would say Viman. So ERP and CRM, because those ERP exists in 1975, 1980s, but
Right.
still in, especially in India, SMBs have not adopted. One reason which I have seen is SMBs have not adopted to new ERPs because they have already burned their hands somewhere in 2000 year, uh, taking some ERP application and not really using it, wasting 2, 3, 5 lakhs of rupees that time, and
Right.
now they are very cautious. But yeah, ERP and CRM are two suites of application where there is a lot of queries which come up.
Okay. And one more question that I had was, would you be able to share any example or case study where an Indian SME utilized these new age technologies and made a turnaround for itself? Any example that you can cite?
More than turnaround, maybe I'll give you one example of our customer where we are currently working, and I'll give it with reference to how they felt
Mm-hmm.
and how are we now changing them. Okay.
Okay.
So this is one customer which is now in the SM, because it's a 100 crore plus company, high margin business. That's where they are little not so much worried about money.
Mm-hmm.
So 1.5, 2 years back, they spent almost 25 lakh rupees to get one application. I mean, it was off the shelf application from a big company, big name. So that's why I won't name that.
Mm-hmm.
But then they got it. They got also some changes done to their requirements. It was hosted with the application provider itself.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 months back, when I met the owner, and then casually I asked him what happened to that initiative which we were doing, because that time when first we met, he was very optimistic about it. He really had good dreams, and then he said, "No, we are not using it." Then I asked him why. He said, "I don't know. Let me call my staff and let me check." So he called his staff and asked him, "अरे क्या हुआ उसका, हम लोग यूज क्या वो क्यों नहीं यूज करते हैं?" And the first thing we did was, "Sir, वो कुछ काम का नहीं है, because we don't know how to use, and now it's off, so no one is there to switch it on." Then I
Mm-hmm.
asked him, "Can I get access? I would like to see what you have done. I can help you with, maybe, if though we have not developed, but I can help you with using it because we are a IT management company."
Mm-hmm.
And then he tried. Then he asked again his staff, "Can we get it?" And after a few days, I got a call from him that we can't get it because to restart the access, he will have to pay 2 to 3 lakhs more.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's a failure story. Now then, we sat with him and we understood what he wanted to do. Okay, so they were mainly they also have one small vertical which is into arts area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they have developed that application to showcase the art and get some online business. So now we are transforming them with the help of e-commerce, with the help of website, and also with the help of a small, would call it a small asset management solution for them,
Okay.
where we will integrate. We are integrating this. The go live can happen most probably in May. So they spend 25 lakhs. Now with this digitalized platform, we are also targeting customer in a specific way using digital marketing,
Mm-hmm.
because for those art, the customer has to be high net worth individuals.
Right.
So now we are also targeting that, which they could not do with. So this is how you can actually, if you get the right advice, the right tools and technologies, if you bring them together in the right way, can help your business grow.
Right. Thank you, Morika ji. It was a pleasure having you. Very informative.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Uh, is there anybody from Tata Tele Business? I believe Yogesh ji has left.
He has left, Aman.
Oh, okay, okay. So I believe that will conclude the session for us then for today. It
Yeah.
was very informative. We had good insights from different speakers, and I'm sure that some of our listeners will be able to find this very useful on our site as well as on social media platforms. Thanks for coming today, uh, and that calls for a closure for today. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.